Calaroga Shark Media.
Hey there, I'm Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news. I don't know what to make of this first one. Paramount Pictures has acquired a pitch inspired by the classic game MASH. The MASH game starts off with a player writing out the letters MASH to predict whether you will live in a mansion, apartment, shack, or house. Categories then picked on what you want in your future, a spouse, kids, cars, pets, etc. Options are crossed off or circled under each category using a magic number, yielding your final resolution. Anyway, Paramount has acquired a pitch inspired by MASH from Nikki Glaser, who will star in, produce, and co-write the film. In Nikki Glaser's untitled MASH product, a woman's childhood MASH game magically becomes reality, and she discovers that perfect life isn't the one she imagined. Okay. Boy, Nikki Glaser, your agents are getting it done. Like, capital G, capital D. Keep riding this wave, Nikki Glaser. Brett Goldstein spoke to Variety. He said editing his specials is hard. It really does matter where you cut the shot. It affects the rhythm of the joke. And you're so long in the edit, you get so obsessive and detailed that by the end, you're like, I don't even know anymore. Is this funny? I hope it's funny. Whereas live, you know it's a yes or no. He taped 2 shows for the special. Stress point early in the first show when the crowd didn't let out a big cheer at the beginning. He said, in a way, it was good because it made me go, you have to nail this because they're not going to be easy. So the first show, I was really locked in. Then the later show, they were much more up for it. There was much more energy. I was much more loose. I improvised a lot, and I played around more. It was sillier. He thought the second show would wind up being the special, but then I went back in and watched the first show, and I was like, the first show's better for TV because you're not there. You, the audience at home, are not there. So me messing around being loosey-goosey is less fun because you weren't there. He shot it in New Jersey, but he wanted to shoot it in Minneapolis, but it was February, and I was told if we shot it there that the equipment would freeze. It was so cold we might not make it. He's working on a follow-up and says, I've got many months to figure it out, but it's a good one. I think I came up with a thing that I think structurally is very satisfying. Talked about this a little bit on Friday. Jeff Ross is coming to Broadway with Take a Banana for the Ride. 8 weeks, August 5th through September 29th. The show is described as a hilarious and cathartic comedic experience about life and human resilience. The show, Take a Banana for the Ride, is named after Jeff's grandfather's practical travel advice. Ross explains, ever since my Aunt Bess took me to see Jackie Mason on Broadway when I was young, I've daydreamed about performing my own classy and uncensored one-man show. I'm honored and excited by the opportunity to share my origin story of how I became the Roastmaster General. This new show is designed to be a cathartic experience shared with others. I encourage you to bring friends that you care about, people that might be going through tough times. I'll shake them out of it with an evening of uncensored jokes, uplifting stories, songs, and even some live roasting of the bravest volunteers. Colin Joe spoke to Variety about putting together SNL 50. He said, I found it much more stressful because you didn't want to let people down who are legends. There was so much more lead time, but just like the regular show, I'd say 90% of it got written in the week leading up to it, so it was stressful for 6 months for everybody. He was nervous to write for Eddie Murphy, who's very cool, and Seth Meyers was in the room and added the word taciturn. Joe said yes, so someone's not talking. You read all of your worst fears into that person. So when I first presented him with the sketch, he was like, I think it's funny. I was waiting for, but I'm not going to do it. That is stressful. Seth has been doing all kinds of press, and I don't know why. I don't know what he's pushing, but he's been everywhere lately. He spoke to Variety. Seth said, unless some major sea change happens, I don't think there's going to be a whole new wave of network hosts in the way there's always been. Nobody understands this business in this format better than Jimmy Kimmel, so when he talks about it, I tend to share his opinion. It does bum me out that the other people won't have exactly this opportunity, but then again, when you think about podcasts, they have just as big as reach as we ever had. If you're a great lover of the institution of late-night talk shows, there's probably some sadness in your future, but if you love funny people telling funny jokes and talking to people in interesting ways, that's always going to be available. Seth's contract is up in 2028, but says the network knows I'd like to do it as long as they'll have me. Las Vegas Weekly caught up with Tiffany Haddish. They were curious about her hanging out backstage with Tim McGraw in an Instagram video in which she raved about his cologne. Tiffany said, he did smell good, and he looks great for his age. How old's Tim McGraw? Tim McGraw is going to be younger than me. I'm going to feel ancient. I shouldn't do this search. Tim McGraw is 58. Oh, yeah, he's old. I'm only 55. He did smell good, and he looks great for his age, but I was like, dang, my brother's lighter than you. Are you sure you're not black? He was telling me about being on the ranch and all that, being a cowboy. He used to ride bulls and do rodeos when he was a teenager. Tiffany said, I am a mechanical bull rider type at a bar. Then I give a little extra something to the operator so they're not tossing me around like a crazy person. If you ever see me in a competition for bull riding, double check to make sure I didn't cheat. She is working on a show for Peacock called Tiffany Haddish Goes Off and explains, it's me and my real friends, and we're going to Africa. When I was a kid, I always used to tell them, I'm going to take you to Africa. I'm very big on if I say it, that's what it's going to be, and it might take me 30 years, but we're going to do it. So we did it. It was a spiritual experience for us, a journey that I think every girlfriend group should take. And I'm not going to lie to you, I thought I was going to be on some hoe stuff. I thought I was going to be hooking up with some African king, but then I realized I'm not the hoe I thought I was. I do have some strong moral compass, and it really showed me that who I associate with really does affect how I move. Zarna Garg, she's got a good team too. Good job, agent and PR team. She has been everywhere. She's going to be on Hulu in July. Her special is called Practical People Win. It'll premiere Friday, July 18th. In Practical People Win, Zarna Garg will take aim at husbands, kids, in-laws, and anyone who dares question an Indian mom's wisdom. Hour-long special filmed in San Francisco. Mike Vecchione will get a special on Nate Bargatze's YouTube channel, Nate Land. This one's called Low Income White. It'll be out June 27th. That's this week. In Low Income White, Mike unloads a barrage of fast-paced observational humor that hits on everything from aging and generational divides to the absurdity of modern life. Got a quick clip for you. Let's listen.
I got all kinds of friends now, single, married, divorced. I got one friend, he got married, divorced, remarried the same woman. I talked to him a few days ago. He said, I'm depressed. I'm like, why are you depressed? He said, I'm having marital problems. I'm like, dude, you're not having marital problems. You have a learning disability.
Chris Porter talked to WRIF and said he's enjoyed touring, but sometimes envies people he grew up with who stayed local. He says there's something peaceful about that life, like an episode of Leave It to Beaver. Everything you ever knew, right there. But I'm also glad I left, saw the world, did some crazy stuff. Still, I miss when things felt massive, when being backstage at a concert was a big deal. It's like when your friend is a Zac Brown fan and you're like, oh yeah, I just played guitar with him at Kid Rock's house. Chelsea Handler was talking about the origins of her book deal. She says, I got this book deal when I was dating Joe Coy. You know, you may remember Joe Coy hosted the Golden Globes one time, but I'm not going to get into that story today. And it was a very public relationship. My editor was like, oh my God, Chelsea Handler's in love and publicly in love. You have to write a book about falling in love. And I was like, no problem. I didn't know this. Chelsea and Joe Coy were first introduced by John Lovitz. I guess. I mean, why not? Chelsea said the end of that relationship changed the trajectory of writing her book. Her editor asked if she would consider writing a book about breaking up, and Chelsea was like, nah, my vibe is happy and optimistic. I thought, okay, I'm not going to just do a book because I have a book deal. I can give the book deal back. So I reflected and I traveled and I thought, do I have anything to say? And I did think about how people perceive me and how I feel and where I am in my life and where I want it to be. I think the book, which is called I'll Have What She's Having, is about reflection. I don't think we've all given ourselves enough credit for where we've come from and what we've accomplished. We go so fast through life that you kind of forget. And here's a conspiracy theory that even I don't believe in. People are claiming that the upcoming film Tron Ares is copying ideas from Adam Sandler. Stay with me. Why would you copy an idea from Adam Sandler unless the idea was have Drew Barrymore in your film? That would be the only idea from Adam Sandler I would ever copy. All right, so Tron Ares is a sequel to Tron Legacy, which is a sequel to, say it with me, Tron. Now, in this new movie, Tron's digital world spills over into the real world, all right? So it's like video game stuff coming to the real world. People are saying that is a similar idea to Adam Sandler's 2015 movie Pixels, which I guess it is, but it's kind of not at all. Do you really think somebody said, hey, Disney, we got this whole Tron franchise, we ought to make a third movie. Hey, great idea, John. What do you got? What if we ripped off one of Adam Sandler's worst movies? What do you mean one of Adam Sandler's worst movies? They're all terrible. No, I know they're all terrible, except Uncut Gems and the one about basketball and the space one. Those ones are okay, and the two with Drew Barrymore, but the rest are all garbage. We know that. But why would we rip off Pixels? I mean, if we were going to rip off an Adam Sandler movie, why that one? You're right. That's your comedy news for today. See you tomorrow.